call the meeting to order. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of February 14th Select Board meeting.
So
Second.
All those, is there any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. I don't have any additions or deletions at this point, just some announcements later. Members of the public, what's happening?
Oh, well, I've been trying to get in here for a while. For one thing and another, it hasn't happened. So there were a couple of things I wanted to bring up. One thing, I think it was at the last meeting, it was stated that I think it was Thrives was going to use the common to do a breakfast or some kind of a thing, an event on the common.
Who?
Thrives.
Right, okay, yeah.
And that the fee was waived. And I was thinking about how I think the fee originally, I think it was back in Hetty's day maybe, was thought of in order to help maintain the common. And I was thinking, like last year there were at least 4 or 5 events at $100 a whack that were waived. It's starting again this year, but maybe if that money was used towards the fund to maintain the gazebo over time, that could be matched by a grant or whatever instead of just waiving it, because the people that are using it for events, it seems like they could pony up $100 when we were using it way back when for Community Hope and Action, which was a strictly volunteer group. Didn't get any funding from anybody. We paid the $100 when we used it.
Well, right now, nonprofits are the ones that have been using it.
Well,
so they haven't been charged the fee.
Is that, but Community Hope and Action was a nonprofit and they got charged the fee.
Okay.
I'm not sure that they did.
I know they did because I was.
Well, I know that
when
they've used the building more than several times without paying anything.
No, I'm talking about the common.
Well, I understand that you're talking about the common.
Oh,
I hear
okay.
that you're talking about the common. I'm saying that they have had to pay here, and usually over there, it didn't come in when Hetty was here. It came when Kathy Hagee was here about 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
And it was to help maintain the common as well as, keeping up with the fountain
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And that's where it came through, or came to be $100. And from there, we have waived it for the nonprofit organizations. So when there's people that are playing concerts and stuff like that, and they like to pay the $100, it covers the electric too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to use the electric there and stuff like that.
Did
So
Grace Cottage Hospital, and that get waived last year?
they got waived.
Yeah, and they made like $3,500.
Do you want to bring it up with?
Well, I'm just wondering why, I don't think that was part of the policy initially, was it? That nonprofits didn't
Yes.
have to pay that fee?
No, it was that nonprofit or stuff that's organized through the town was to not pay the fee. It was, we took our policy and mimicked the same thing that's on the Newfane Common.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, I was just wondering because I know that Community Hope and Action was a nonprofit because I was involved with it for years.
okay.
And I know that when we did an event in the common, we paid the $100 because I organized it and I paid it. So there's no doubt in my mind that it was paid by a nonprofit. And I think, didn't Ally get her fee waived for the Pickle Festival?
Don't remember.
I think she did,
Don't
if I remember correctly. But I'm
Would
just
you like
wondering
us
if
to
it's a
reimburse the
potential.
$100 to the Community Hope and Action?
They don't even exist anymore.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't want any reimbursement. I'm just saying that it seems like a potential way of getting money to help maintain the gazebo, which I haven't dropped yet, of course.
That's all taken care of, Laura.
How so?
There is a fund that has not been used for, funny farm movie, Destroy the Trees.
1987.
There's a fund that's been in a savings type of an account since 1987. After the trees were repaired, there was money left over. There is, I'm not gonna give you a figure because I don't wanna be
Is it
wrong.
called the Common Fund?
It may be.
Yeah, I
And
heard about it.
the only difference is that that fund, and we'll call it the Common Fund, is not dedicated by the taxpayers. So the board can use it at any point for whatever is necessary for that common. So it's my position, and I'm sure the other board members would agree with me, that we're not gonna start raising money and raising taxes for that common until that money has been used.
Well, I spent many weeks coming in here talking about this and was told there was no money.
At that time, we didn't have it.
Of
It was
course you had.
brought forward that it was there, it was looked into, and there's actually more than one fund, but that's the only one that applies to the common. So,
Yeah, I've
there's a
researched.
lot of things that you dig up when you start tearing apart these budgets.
Well, I
So-
actually dug those up last year. You know?
Well,
I actually have the paperwork right here about them.
that's where it's gonna go.
Okay,
That's how it's gonna go, and once that's exhausted, then we'll talk to the town meeting reps to figure out what they wanna do to continue it past that.
well, if you have the funds already, there are a couple of matching fund grants out there by the state of Vermont that could help make those funds stretch further.
Yeah, and those grants have a definite deadline. You have to use them by a certain point. Now, the person that spent all the time fixing it says there's nothing to fix there right now.
I know
So-
that, we had to talk about that.
So,
I think that, well, I was trying to find someone that would, some outside person that wasn't involved with the town, that's a carpenter, you know, a licensed carpenter, to go and look at it and give their appraisal of it. And I called 3 different people who said they would, but they've never come through. It's really hard to find people in that line of business to actually have any time to go and look at a job like that.
gentleman that did it, and oh, by the way, put in all the balusters, Mr.
There are
Evans.
still some balusters missing.
Yeah, there are, they're gone. But Mr. Evans put all the time and effort into it, went under it, assessed it, and I would put his assessment up against any carpenter going. So until
Well,
there's that, and he's pointed
I know-
out one deficiency, Laura, he's pointed out one deficiency that needs to be taken care of, and when it's warm and dry, we'll deal with it.
Yeah, I've talked with John already about that. I haven't dropped the whole common thing, I've been keeping up on it.
So,
The whole gazebo thing. I beg to differ with John, and I'm not a finished work carpenter, but I've helped build houses, I've done carpentry work on our property, I know rotted wood when I see it, and I beg to differ. I think John's erring on the side of caution. I'm not criticizing him, I think he's trying to do what he feels is right for the town, as is most people here, as far as I know. But when you can take a piece of wood and put your finger in it, it's not good. And you can do that. Has anybody here gone over and checked out the gazebo?
yeah.
You went over and looked at it?
I photographed it, including the foolishness with the person who put the slide and drilled that thing into it, and I went and looked at his work, and he pointed out to me what you're talking about. And his answer to that is epoxy, and it will serve the purpose.
It's a temporary fix.
I'm not gonna go into construction with you, Laura. It's taken care of right now. We don't have time to go after grants on something that they will just tell us we have to turn the money back in if we haven't used it in an amount of time. When there's an issue that we need to deal with, we'll deal with it. Any other comment? Gavin?
Well, there's one thing I've been thinking about since you've been coming in talking about the common and the gazebo. I remember what was going on in Warrensboro with their skate park, and they created a group separate from, it's not their select board, it's a separate group called Friends of the Warrensboro Skate Park, and they've been They created a group, they've been fundraising, they've been getting the word out, they've been talking to people, just like what you did at the Riverbend when you got your signatures and stuff. I think
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
And I think that there are people interested in doing these kinds of things around town. And I think that for us, we're taking things as they come, and we can't just like spend, you know, any certain money or whatever without basically either bringing it to town meeting or, you know, that's where we're from. But I think that if people in the town created a group and they were interested in that, we would do what we could on our end to support them. So
Okay.
I think that's a way to go, because I remember you saying that you felt like you couldn't accept money from anybody because that would be weird and
It's
not
not
like
legal.
appropriate. Exactly.
It's not legal.
So this is a way that you can do that. Because I honestly think that if you had been there at the Riverbend, and I'm not saying that you did anything wrong, I'm saying that a person at the Riverbend getting signatures for this cause could have gotten $5, $1, $3 from people, and they probably would have given it to them if it was coming from an appropriate place, which I understand you're saying is, you know, you need to have an established thing before you can accept money from people. So I've been thinking about that a lot and trying to think of a time to mention that to you about a way that fundraising could happen to either like do one of these matching grants or something like that. You know, you need some fundraising, you need the grant money, the money needs to be matched, somebody needs to write it all out. Like there's a lot of moving parts to that, and I think there's people in this town that know how to do that. So
Yeah, I actually know someone that knows how to do grant writing, but I was just told that there is money available to, that's accessible by the select board, it doesn't have to be voted for during a town meeting to use those funds. So, in a sense.
Maintaining the budget or to keep people's taxes down. And that's what we need to do. As far as this, is there anything else that you need an answer to besides the common? I mean, I'm in this particular situation, we're just spinning our wheels. I told you where the money was coming from, how we were going to spend it, and if there is a group that comes together to do it, that wants to do what Katie is saying, it's a community action group. We'll see what we can do to help
I'm
out.
actually going to start knocking on doors in the spring when the weather breaks and see if I can get
Okay.
a more of a solid group of people to do more. Yeah, the second thing I wanted to bring up is at one of the meetings I went to, I mentioned the Mosley Fund, and I know it's kind of old news, but it was mistakenly stated that it was only for the fire department, or I can't remember what the other thing was.
The library.
The library, but that's actually not correct.
Well, we know
I've got the letter in front of me.
We know what it says. We
Okay.
do know what it says.
Okay, I know what it says as well.
Okay.
I'd like to read it, so that other people that might be watching us also know what it says.
Go ahead.
Okay, so initially, it just talks about the $50,000 to the town of Townsend, and they're pleased to enclose the check. Alice Mosley, Frances Mosley's mother, was a longtime resident of Townsend, living in the house on the west side of Route 30 on the south end of Harmonyville. Frances spent many summers during the early 1920s with Mrs. Mosley, and many of the views he held throughout his life were formed in the environs of Townsend. I remember him particularly speaking of Mr. Willard's mill and the pleasure he got from seeing and working with the steam-driven machinery. His lifelong interest in steam apparatus no doubt got its start in Townsend and gave him great pleasure. The 1930 Chevrolet touring car he bought for Mrs. Mosley in 1930, which she used until the middle of the 1950s, is in good working order and remains in the family. This is the critical part, he always spoke fondly of Townsend and wanted to do something nice for the town. He spoke of the volunteer fire department and of the library. We hope some of these funds will be used for their purpose. This is a suggestion, it's not a requirement. There's nothing in this letter that says that that's what you have to use those funds for. Nothing. And then it talks about where he's going to be buried. And then the select board sent a letter to him thanking him, and then they brought it up before the town at a meeting. They talked about this bequest and asked for input from the town about what would they like to do, use of the Mosley Trust. And they explained the gift. They proposed that the interest from the already invested trust be used for repair and upkeep of the town hall for a few years until it can be brought back into shape. So they used the money for the town hall. they didn't use it for the
Okay.
library or the fire department. And they also had other things by the voters about like handicapped access, upgrade the common, use it for other town projects. So,
And if there's anything left of it, that's what'll happen to it. That's what'll happen to it.
there's a lot left in the mostly fund.
And it will be
It's in the
factored
town
into the
reports.
budget, it'll be factored into the budget when that money's needed. Okay,
So
anything else?
I just wanted to clarify that that was a misunderstanding about how that money could be used.
I think you definitely should keep calling contractors and see if somebody wants to look at it. I think, in the spring, when it's more.
Yeah, I will.
I mean, because I think that then, we'll look at that.
I figured if I had a contractor that actually would do it, talk about the, assess the building and say what they think it needs or will need soon, that would have more impetus than me saying what it needs, because obviously my word doesn't mean a whole lot to people. So anyway, I'm going to do that. And I figured I'd also hang until the end of the meeting, because I think I'd like to start being here, for the meetings, just to see how things are going and be a part of, start that concerned citizens group of one until I can get more people in it. So, but that's all I wanted to say. That was my main reason for coming here tonight.
We'll move on to warrants, go ahead, Rob.
Make a motion to pay the warrants, starting with number 1, payroll, in the amount of $11,370.31. Number 2, payroll tax, in the amount of $4,940.32. Number 3, general fund, in the amount of $7,412.92. Number 4, highway fund, in the amount of $8,250.06. Number 5, highway equipment fund, in the amount of $9,313.18. For a total of $41,286.79.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3-0. We don't have a highway report. Let's see what's next. Treasurer's report. The active, or what's available, the true fund balance is $824,948. The account balance, as shown by the bank, is $1,888,159 even, and $30,000 in the checking account. Town clerk has brought in, through the various fees, $797.50. And announcements. This is our last meeting before the town meeting. Town meeting is going to be on the 7th at 9 a.m. next door at the Dutton Gym. It's going to be broadcast live on Comcast channel 1079, or there is a link that was sent out to the, what was it, Connie? The link was sent out to the unofficial website and
Front
Front Forum.
And it will be posted in the post offices in town.
Okay, and it'll be in both post offices. All right. I think that was pretty much it. There's no old business, new business, and no executive session. The next meeting will be Tuesday, is that right? Tuesday the 14th?
March.
March 14th, yeah, okay. Next regular meeting will be Tuesday, March 14th at 6 p.m. There'll be a special meeting on town meeting day to swear in any new, or the new members, the newly elected members, and organizational meeting.
And that Tuesday, the 14th, depends on if we keep it the same, the
Right.
schedule the same.
Right. All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Let's move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. deal. We're done. Thank you.